Good evening, everybody, and welcome again. It is Disney Dialogues. Hello, Jen. Good evening.
Hello. I'm so excited for this evening.
It's
Oh,
when we sat down and put this plan together, we listed several artists that we said it would be
mhm.
an amazing thing to talk about. And I think as we've talked about and promoted this the last couple of weeks, one of the things we found as we prepared for this interview is we're interviewing so much more than an artist tonight. It's just a person who is just unbelievable in what he does for other people in so many ways, whether it's professional or in his generosity and caring.
I think this is the point of the show where I'm supposed to say the artist is like an onion.
Yeah,
I believe.
we're going to open the layers tonight, and this one's going to be amazing. So
hmm
let's get into it and get going. Before we get going, I always like to share with you some of the work and with some of our friends out there. Guys, check out some of the pieces and work that it's unbelievable. So many different opportunities out there. If you have questions tonight, drop them into the chat. We will try to get to them. We have a large list of topics that we want to talk with Noah tonight. Absolutely incredible. His vast ability to go across so many fronts, and it just his artistic efforts is unreal. Oh my god, it's just
But
I knew the
it's not just his drawing, it's the use of colors and light in the
yes,
drawing also that
yes,
really make you feel it. You
impactful,
know,
absolutely impactful,
what do you
absolutely.
say about that the Jesus Christ? I mean, what do you say about that?
It's just beautiful. It's just all there is to it. Now, I always like to let you go in and jump right into the introduction.
Mhm.
But before you do, I've told you many times that quotes from different people of inspiration are impactful. I just talked about this one the other night. And I talked about this one with you.
Mhm.
Overcoming fear is a
Mhm.
discipline like all others. It gains strength each time you use it. It's such a strong, impactful thing. We're going to talk about 31 disciplines of highly successful creators. This is an amazing book and so
Mhm.
many great quotes in there. Uplifting quotes can get you started in a great way. Yeah, 100%, 100%. So
Definitely.
with that, let's get an introduction. Let's get our guest in here because I know everybody's excited here tonight.
All right, let's get this ball rolling. So, our guest, Noah, holds a truly special place in the Disney community. His
Hmm.
presence at nearly every D23 Expo, missing only one, speaks
Hmm.
volumes.
Volumes.
That consistent invitation is a clear testament to the value and impact that Disney itself places on his work.
Absolutely.
Our guest tonight brings a client roster that's second to none, working with powerhouse names like Disney, Toyota, Universal, Microsoft, Costco, and Lexus, and that's just naming a few.
It's impressive.
Noah's journey has been shaped by influential and impactful relationships with individuals who have left a lasting mark on our world.
Hmm.
Friends and mentors like Tony Baxter, Martha Blanding, Marty Sklar, Steve Davison, George Kalogridis, and John Lasseter.
Wow.
Those are names.
Those are big time names.
Our guest was voted one of the top 25 artists in the world. World.
Can I? Yeah, I want to stop you there. World, everybody.
World.
We're not talking just Disney. We're not talking just other
Right.
genres. We're talking. He was respected and ranked globally. That's amazing.
hmm Very well respected. He was named that by Art Business News Magazine, and his business was named by Microsoft as one of the 10 most influential companies under 10 employees.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Hmm.
Noah is an author, a coach, and thought leader who consults with other artists, personalities, organizations, and businesses around the world. Noah's celebrity work started with Craig T. Nelson and
Coach.
others such as Val Kilmer, Barbara Streisand, Ted Danson, and Tom Cruise. I feel like I'm just dropping names. This whole intro is just dropping names. This is amazing. Our guest tonight truly checks all the boxes, including author, artist, influencer, coach, mentor, father, believer, and humanitarian. He brings
Absolutely.
heart, purpose, and impact to everything he does.
Absolutely.
It is our absolute honor to welcome to the show a man whose impact on the Disney community is deeply felt and widely admired. He's known by one name, a name that carries creativity, heart, and legacy. He is Noah Elias. He is Noah Fine Art. Ladies and gentlemen, he is simply Noah.
Welcome, sir.
Oh, you are so kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
You
you
guys
for
rock.
thank you for joining us tonight. We're obviously excited to sit down and talk with you. I know
Mhm.
when I was at the festival, and I told Jen that after you and I talked, and you said, "Hey, yeah, I'd be interested to reach out to Griffin." I called her right away, and I said, I told her that you did. I think she almost dropped the phone. She was that excited about the
It's
opportunity
an
to sit
Yeah.
honor.
down. So let's get things started by telling everybody, listen, everybody, so you know, moderators are going to be dropping the links for Noah into the chat
Mhm.
throughout the night. So please make sure that you're following all his socials. He has his own ones, and you'll find out about that a little bit today. He has his ones for him. He has his ones for art. There's also other great ways to get a hold of or follow him through his website, through other socials, and we'll cover all that throughout the show and at the end tonight. If you're brand new to the channel, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe for us tonight. Come back and join us for all the amazing dialogues that we do. No, I guess to get things started, just a quick, simple introduction to you, an overview of, hey, here's Noah, so that people that might not know you, that can get to know you a little bit right off the bat.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate it. First of all, thanks for having me, and it's an honor, and I appreciate the huge family of Disney guests and just the Disney community and everybody that makes everything community. In terms of it continuing to be so special, every single event that we do, and we're celebrating this year 20 years, but
Wow.
um, yeah, it's pretty exciting. But in 2005 is when Disney and I partnered together in creating products and art, and that was a ton of fun. But it really started back uh, basically when my parents split up when I was 9 years old, and it was 9 years old at that time. And when that took place, by the time I was 12, I knew I was going to be on my own early, and I needed to
Hmm.
really survive. And the scarier thing was I was going through high school realizing I wasn't just going to get a ticket to be able to have a career in creativity, like meaning just a guaranteed meal ticket or
Right.
college or whatever. So one, couldn't afford college. Two, really wanted to be in business for myself. Did not know how that whole thing was going to get planned out, or in terms of like a plan. Nobody hands you a book and says, "Hey, here's how you build a life of creativity. Now go do it."
Right.
um, which is why I've written books to help others get it.
Right.
But back then, it started on a bike going door to door at 16 and having to overcome a lot of fear rooted in survival to, with no social media, no marketing other than going and building a business and building a brand one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time. So it all started back at 16 and grew from there. And God blessed it. And I just wanted to remain obedient and available to be used, and tried to get the best at my craft that I possibly could get. And by the time I hit 28 years old, after doing it for 14 years, a great client roster and a list that God built, I was leaned up against the wrong building of. I climbed the ladder of success, but it was leaned against the wrong building, and that was the building of self.
Right.
And I was terrified that I didn't know what I was going to do with the rest of my life, because I felt like I had been given the gift of being able to create anything, but didn't know where I should aim that weapon. And that's when I pretty much had a midlife crisis at 28, and the crisis of faith said, I'm going to, rather than keeping God a silent partner, asking him to bless my business, I want to turn every square inch of my life into a performing asset that can put a smile on his face, help heal the world. And that's when we adopted our our mission statement that says we're going to use creativity and story to help bring hope to the
Oh, no,
world.
yeah.
So the art's just a vehicle to be able to um, bless others, help others, and then also show others what's possible and help them in their journey of helping them get not just success but significance. And that's a really exciting process. So that's a little my snapshot of my background.
That's a beautiful thing, and what you do with your art is whether it's somebody that's seeing a mural, kind of like when I talked to Shane Grammer and talked about his murals that we see publicly, or if it's a beautiful piece of your artwork from the smallest pieces to the largest ones. Every time
Yeah.
somebody walks by that in their house, you're putting a smile on their face. You're bringing the love that God would want us to see through that every time you do it. I think that's an incredible path that you can do. Which kind of gets me to aspirations. And I think Jen wanted to talk a little bit about artistic aspirations, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to talk for a moment about young Noah and your aspirations early on. If you could take us back to your younger self when this artistic journey first began, how would you describe the path from then until now? And where has where you've achieved met or even exceeded the dreams you had as a child?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think at a very young age, um, we can all have kind of like dreams and aspirations of what you kind of hope to do one day. I don't think I ever wanted to be like kind of coming out of high school going, I want to be an artist for the
Hmm.
in terms of that specific. I knew I wanted to be creative, but I for sure knew that I wanted to be entrepreneurial,
Hmm.
and I also knew that I wanted to do things that were massive. And I at the core, I wanted my life to matter. And more importantly, the fear that drove me is I didn't want to miss the mark of my true potential of being put on this earth. And so the idea was, how can I get clear on not just the craft, but then also the business? Because I did want to build a brand, and
Right.
I wanted to build something,
Mhm.
massive, massive, massive that could have impact. At first, you kind of want to prove it to yourself. I think everybody does. They want to prove that they can build something. They can prove that they can learn something. They can prove that they can climb a certain summit or whatever. But for me, I just wanted to continue to put myself in a position where I could spend the rest of my life not only creating things that could make new revenue to make more impact, to then take all the winnings and keep parlaying the winnings into another venture that could make more revenue to make more impact, to build more things, to then go build something else to make more revenue, to make more impact, to build more things. And so you're kind of building this machine to perpetually fund the dreams that God keeps laying on your heart. And so every single time, if you look back over the timeline of your life at your biggest jumps that you've had in life, most likely it didn't have very much to do with you. I was always inspired by the fact that King David was just making himself available and doing what he was called to do, and that was shepherd sheep. And the Lord plucked him out of the field and elevated him to king.
Elevated them
So,
up. Yeah.
Mhm.
so there was plenty of times in my life where I'm like, man, how are the bills going to get paid? And feel like I'm crawling out of a hole because I just bet all my chips on the next initiative or publishing something or investing in the brand. And you got to kind of have that willingness at a young age to say, I'm willing to go to zero as many times as possible in order to do
Hmm.
what you feel called to do. And that's
Right.
why I relate to Disney, because he was willing to go to zero more times than you can possibly count. There's very few people that have the stomach to go to zero. So that's
Right.
why I wrote the book Fear Hunters, because it was all about, if you can learn how to hunt down and anything that's standing in the way of you becoming who you've been called to be,
Hmm.
you become fearless. And once you become fearless, then it's game on. And then it
Absolutely.
becomes, life is gamified, and you can have a tremendous amount of fun overcoming these fears to step into dreams that just are absolutely daunting or feel ridiculous or impossible. So,
I love it. I
Mhm.
love that. And that's a great point because,
Right.
Walt went and had everything taken away. And, on that
Mhm.
New York trip, he could have just given up. And instead, he drew a picture of a mouse on a napkin and was willing to listen to his wife on changing a name. That's impact.
Yeah.
Impact and
Yeah.
trust in your partner, which is a great
Mhm.
thing. So I love that. Well, it's funny, talking about Walt, you've mentioned that you've been influenced by, a lot of great people around
Mhm.
in time. Norman Rockwell, Rick Griffin, Bill Patterson, Nick Park, and of course, just
Mhm.
Walt Disney that you spoke a minute ago. Could you just share
Yeah.
with me how some of these people impacted your life and your artistic journey, and kind of what you've carried forward from them in your work and in your own life?
Yeah. And one of my mentors said it really great and articulated it well at one of our lunches. He just says, you got to get to a point in life where um, you will not by any means settle for anything less than what you truly desire most. And a lot of people will spend their life living what they believe other people want for them. That could be your parents, that could be an institution, that could be your community, that could be your friends, that could be your network. And what you realize is out of fear of loss of rejection or connection or belonging, you won't make decisions in life that are true to yourself because you're afraid of loss. And you're ultimately not being your true, genuine, authentic self. And where I get most excited by those that have kind of set the example, and there's certain musicians, there's authors, et cetera, that have unapologetically lived their true, genuine, authentic self. And
Hmm.
uh, they didn't run life based on needs, like I need to do this, I need to do this, nor did they have nor did they justify why they wanted what they wanted. They didn't
Hmm.
live in need and scarcity; they lived in want. And when you live in want, example, when I first built the business and when I started building the brand, all my desires were based in self. They were rooted. That's why I said the success ladder was leaned up against the wrong building. It was the brand of me. But the moment I realized that I had a much
Yeah.
larger purpose to fulfill, I wanted to get me out of the way, find out who I'm truly wired to be. It's almost like removing clay and seeing the true, thing underneath what's to be revealed. God
Right.
revealed the true thing. Here's who you're called to be. This is why I've placed you on this planet. This is why I've left you on this planet. And once you find that out, all you want to do is live in that flow state of being your true, genuine self. And so when you start to look around at the landscape of who are the creators that came before, and who are the creators that are living right now in that way. And so those are a few of the guys that have stood out, from Nick Park with Ardman and Bill Watterson and all that. They don't give a rip what other people think, nor
Right.
do
They
they.
just do this.
And everybody would say, "Oh, they're just doing art for art's sake." Well, not really. They're using the best of themselves and their unique genius to really make an impact. I always use this quote whenever I'm speaking somewhere. Like, Walt wasn't in it for himself. He wanted to provide a place that a dad could be a king and a mom could be a queen, and the boy could be a prince and the daughter could be a princess. And
Right.
just for a few moments, the world could disappear, and it wasn't a life of escapism. It was a life of celebration. And
Hmm.
so, that's when I think the magic in a bottle says, when are you using your creativity and the best of who you are to be able to be an incredible gift towards others? Where, I always use this saying as well. It's like, what if you were to design a life and use your creativity in such a way that when you departed this earth, and when you're in heaven, you're getting royalty checks for the impact that you're making even while you're gone? That's a true legacy.
That's beautiful.
And so, yeah, when I look at these characters, Walt's work is the gift that keeps on giving. When you're creating IP and assets and writing books and making films and making cartoons and making art, these are assets that'll pay you dividends and royalty checks in heaven. And when you look at life through that lens, it makes things pretty dang special. You're not waking up just throwing spaghetti up against the wall. You're waking up with intention and saying, I'm going to live a life by design. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it by default and just take what's given to me. I'm going to go make things happen. But the difference now is my desires are God's desires. They're not just my desires for the sake of being selfish. It's like, I want to, I want to, I want to use my entire life as one big act of worship back as a thank you for what he's done for me, and left me here, put me here, gave me this amazing wife and kids and beautiful community, great clients, and the ability to create. I mean, give me a
Yeah.
break, dude. It's a dream. It's an absolute dream.
It's amazing. I kind of go as I sit there and listen to you and listen, to some of the, things that I've watched and read online as Jen and I talked and prepared for this. It's funny. I go back to that Jimmy Stewart line from "It's a Wonderful Life." You really are treasured and touched by how many lives you impact, and you don't realize that. And
Yeah.
I don't think much like the five gentlemen on this screen that we're talking about, and yourself. The amount of people that you're impacting is huge when you look at Walt, and that
Yeah.
way everybody thinks of Walt. No, I got to be honest with you. As we prepared for this, Jen and I, every person we went to had a Noah impact type discussion, or it was your
Mm.
art that you did, or it was I talked to one person who Dale's actually in here. Dale and Jenna are a huge fan. They're from Resort TV One. They are a huge fan of
Uh,
you, and
uh,
when you talk with people like that have your work in their house, you
yeah.
hear the so it's such a true thing. Jen, that was a great
Okay.
question, and I love
Mhm.
that. But we're going to go over to you for a better one, because I know you want to talk about some fellow Disney artists and things like that. Correct?
Yeah, well, I know that in our many interviews with your fellow Disney artists, we've often heard about personal rituals or routines that
Yeah.
help spark and sustain your creativity. Would
Yeah.
you be willing to share a bit about your own protocols or habits that help
Yeah.
drive your focus and success for each day?
Yeah. So let's see. I could use today as an example. Up at 5 a.m., prayer and solitude time, quiet time and solitude. Then to the gym for an hour, jacuzzi and eucalyptus room for another hour, 5 mile walk, listening to scripture, and then half of that walk is also on a book that I'll do my audiobooks.
Hmm.
After that, a meeting with my mentor, and so that would be done around 11. So it's a good 5 hours of personal protocols where I'm always working on topping off my reserves, and it's really important because I teach this to all the business owners and creatives that I coach. Is that you know you're gonna deal with two things that speak about your integrity. Just I just think it's a gift to be able to talk about this for whoever's listening, because I think this will change your life if you're willing to implement it. You got to look at yourself like a tree,
Okay.
and I want you to think about you as a person in terms of your integrity. And integrity, I don't mean like your reputation and who you are. I'm not talking about that in kind of integrity. I'm talking about like if there was an earthquake, what's the integrity of who you are, the infrastructure, the foundation, not just the cement or the rebar or what's been laid as a foundation, but what's the catalyst, like what's the concrete hardener, like what are you shored up to where you can withstand. But most people think that their integrity is about just withstanding obstacles, withstanding challenges, withstanding adversity, but it's actually more than that. It's success. If I really want to see what's going to take a person out, I'm not going to look at adversity. I'm going to look at how do they handle success. Because being in adversity, it makes you single-minded. My one mentor speaks about this very well. He just says you only have one thing to worry about in adversity and trials and all that is survival. So you're
Survival.
singularly
Correct.
focused. But the moment that you go to a success is now you got more spinning plates, and you're probably oversubscribed, and the enemy does a really good job of trying to take out leaders by giving them everything that they've ever wanted. So the true test of somebody's integrity is how well they can put down roots and how far can they put down roots. And everybody goes, well, look at how they handle conflict. I'm not really concerned about that. Let's just give them everything that they've ever wanted and see how they respond to being oversubscribed. And that's really going to tell the test of somebody's adversity or their integrity. So you can almost look at that tree kind of waving, like here comes the wind of adversity. Sure, that'll put some roots down of your faith.
Hmm.
Or what about all the success, wave after wave, that you can't handle managing and stewarding a family, stewarding your calendar, stewarding your money, stewarding your relationships, stewarding all of that can lead to a life of a ton to manage. And so that's success. So in a lot of cases, I tell people success is the worst thing that can actually happen to you. So why am I saying this? Because my personal protocols for inspiration and being able to live life by design, not by default, where you're like a ball in a pinball machine. You're either going
Right.
to be thrown around the victim or you're going to navigate it. And for me, it says, how much can I invest in topping off reserves? The greatest job that I can do every single day is to spend as much time in topping off my reserves, taking time off as I possibly can, because it's not time off. I'm doing deep sea fishing work on mining for gold. The longer that I can sit in that state, this is where all the ideas come from. This is where
Right.
all the ideas for business come from. This is where all business strategy comes from. This is where having an amazing marriage comes from. This is where getting multi-million-dollar deals comes from, because you're deep sea fishing. If I want to get the ideas for the most extraordinary, earth-shattering ideas in life, don't you think it would help to spend as much time as you possibly can with the ultimate entrepreneur creator of all time?
Yeah.
We can read books all we want, mentorship, and get thought leadership,
Right.
or I can just sit in my father's study as long as I can and inquire with him and spend time with him, and he'll give you all the answers. But everybody thinks that they're going to learn everything by going and executing and implementing and doing all day long. I'm like, dude, you can't do that running on empty and trying to do a 10-minute quiet time or listen to a podcast. You're
Right.
spending way too much in your life in implementation every single day.
Because you invest more the other way. That's great. That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. As you're listening tonight, we're dropping all the links for all of Noah's socials, not just his art, all of it. As you're finding out tonight, I told you this would be a special night, so much more than just a normal interview, and we're just getting it, going through it now, and it already is. And I love that you guys are here tonight. We'll try to get to some of your questions, but we've got some great stuff to talk to our guests. But make sure you give them a follow on all those and keep up with them. Inspiration, opportunity, and we're going to talk a little bit about that for opportunities with Noah, that you could even invest in yourself through him. You've had the opportunity, I want to talk about the art for a minute. You've had the opportunity to interact directly with those that are purchasing your art at Disney, whether it's in Disney DCA out there or at Epcot, at the Festival of the Arts. I just kind of want to go over here for a minute and say, how have these experiences and conversations with Disney fans impacted you as an artist? And what have you been able to take away from them?
Yeah. Listen, as a Disney guest, as a collector, as a Disney guest, as a collector, if I was to walk in your home and you weren't there, I would walk in and I'd look at everything inside your house, and that tells a story.
Right.
And that story is going to describe a little bit about who you are and where your heart is at. And so I think about that when I create. And I'm not thinking about what I want to create. I'm thinking about, I run through a criteria of what's going to resonate, what I've been listening to from guests, what literally squeezes their heart, what's going to move them to tears, what's going to make them feel where they can. And my favorite is when they walk into the gallery and they go, that's me, or that's us, or I see myself in that, or I did that as a kid, or like I see I see them. I want them to know I see you. And that's what makes this culture so beautiful. Now, the back to the home idea says your home is a museum. All the art is, to me, it's not about the art. The art is just a memento of an experience that we've shared together. And that's something that we have in common.
Mm-hmm.
We love Disney. We love building memories together. We love celebrating life together. And we love doing it at a place where there's an amazing culture where everybody comes together and locks arms and really enjoys that. And if my art can be a vehicle to help convey that spirit and to convey that DNA of what makes things we call, the term special,
Mm-hmm.
and celebrate that cleverness and that curiosity and that the best is yet to come and dreams and all that. That's really what we want to celebrate. So
Awesome.
that's what I want the art to be. I want it to be a vehicle.
I love that. Love that. Jen? Oh, you're muted. You're
I'm sorry, there was some background noise. Okay. Inspiration for an artist can come in so many forms: moments, memories, places, people. Could you take a moment to share with our audience where you personally find your inspiration and what tends to spark your creative process?
Yeah. So if I did it today, if I want to go mine for gold and go after a specific area, or a specific, like I'm going to go mining for gold and ideas. That's why I do the 5 mile walks daily. It's interesting because when you look at that protocol, you're not only getting 10,000 steps in when you do 5 miles, but you're getting blood flow and you're able to like what I call active recovery is I'm keeping the pounds off, staying healthy. The older that you get, you're able to keep that flow state of where you're thinking and dreaming up new ideas. And in addition to that, when I'm doing drive time, we have a 10.5 hour drive to our beach house, or um, if I'm driving to Vegas, or if I'm driving to LA to meet a client or whatever,
Hmm.
those are opportunities. I literally will put myself in a flow state of great music, inspiration. Sometimes it can be a movie, but most of the time it's music, and most of the time it's drive time, and when I'm moving, and that's where the really good ideas come from.
Love it. Jen and I would kind of like to talk about it, just a couple pieces real quick. I kind of want to start, with my process with, looking at two pieces recently that I've seen from you as that you've done with the festivals, and that is the
Mhm.
High Seas Adventures, which is a reflection of Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously, and as of course storytellers with Walt Disney. They've really
Yeah.
captured the hearts of fans. Could you give our viewers a little insight into the inspiration and story behind these powerful works? And I guess if you could we'll start with Walt. I mean, this is absolutely just Noah. This is just spectacular.
Uh,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's well, a few things. So I absolutely love old movies. I love everything 20s to 40s genre, music, cars,
Hmm.
style, material, aesthetic, architecture, everything. Everything is the best of the best. And um, so when it came to storytellers, and this was to commemorate the opening of California Adventure, and there was a statue there called Storytellers,
Hmm.
and they wanted to kind of be brought into like a piece. And so this was probably one of the most challenging in my 20-year career, because the goal here was to be able to say, for myself, was to say, how can I make everybody think that this is actually Walt landing in LA, getting off the train with a suitcase and a dream, and he's right in front of Carthay Circle, and it's almost like this big legacy piece is what I wanted it to feel
Right.
like. And it was then, how do we pull this off aesthetically? Like, okay, I have to literally take this little miniature maquette and turn that into as real as possible, and it being done in such a manner where it'll be timeless. So there's all these little layers and factors that I'm always thinking of like, how's this piece going to live on forever? How is it going to get better with time? How is it going to continue? How will it never be out of style? How will it also be an iconic image to where, especially the family editions that are like 4 or 5 feet tall, you walk into a house and people just feel like this feels
Whoa.
like an old movie, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's an
Yeah.
icon. So um, we hit the target. I'm really excited about the way that it turned out. And then it was on the front of the bulletin when you entered the park during that,
Yeah.
few months. It was really special and massive honor. And yeah, and then did the signing. So I mean, that was a very challenging but fun. And then um, High Seas Adventure. There was a couple of events that took place for Disneyland, and they actually had VIP events where it was like a pirate event. And so this was one of the images that I had created, but I also wanted to again have something that was timeless, something that I'm always thinking about this. A lot of artists will create something in front of themselves, whether it's on a table, on a computer, on an
Hmm.
easel, on a wall, whatever. And they're sitting there going, "Oh, this looks killer. This is bitchy, and I love it, and I just makes me feel good." I'm like, "Yeah, but at the end of the day, would you hang that in a home?
Right.
Would you walk into Restaurant Hardware or Pottery Barn, and would they hang that on a home? You got to like think this has got to go in somebody's house." And so, to some degree, I'm always thinking, I want luxury, high end, legacy, beautiful, timeless, old classic movies that will just get better in time. That's just my personal approach to the craft.
It's a
And
great
so when I'm thinking
approach.
about it, I'm thinking, okay, I want this to feel appropriate. I want it to feel, I don't want it to feel contrived. I want this to feel like an old map. I want this to have beautiful beautiful style, and this monochromatic look will go with a lot of homes. So I'm thinking all of that in mind when I paint it, and then I'm thinking, would I hang this in my own home? And the answer would be yes. Like I would want it to
Absolutely.
be 6, 7 feet, really cool. But what makes a lot of the pirate images that I worked on, there's a whole nother series as well. But
Right. Correct.
I got to shut down, have the whole ride shut down, and got to walk the entire ride and shoot the reference photos that I wanted to be able to use. And it's probably one of the highlights of my life, between that and the mansion, being able to go and do R&D. That was pretty
Going to
darn
R and
special.
D. Yeah, that's incredible. Well, this
Yeah.
transitions to a piece that completely just this piece just overwhelms me. It honestly, Noah, it's probably one of my most favorite pieces of art in the entire world. I absolutely love this piece, and I'm going to let Jen talk about it tonight. Jen, let's talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
Muted.
I'm looking.
Sorry.
It's okay.
There's one piece of your artwork that I think makes every Disney fan pause with a deep sigh of reflection and a burst of enthusiasm, just like Pete just did, A Boy in His Dream. It's such a powerful tribute. Can you take us to the story behind creating this incredible piece and what it means to you personally?
I appreciate that. A Boy in His Dream. So I did an experiment, back to the true, genuine, authentic self. Uh, I made a decision back in 2008, 2010, where uh, I stopped creating things, or I stopped just living for anything financial. There's a
Mhm.
commitment that Chantel made, was we're no longer going to base our decisions in life off of finances. We're going to base our decisions in life off of how productive and fruitful we're going to be for the kingdom. But then
Okay.
um, how we're going to be the most in our sweet spot of who we've been called to be. Like, are we really being who we've been called to be? Meaning, if you self-impose your retirement, which is what I do with a lot of my clients, like $500 million in the bank, and you impose you don't need to make money on anything, would you really be doing what you're doing today? And most people's answer is no.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, well, talk about what you would do. And they're like, I don't even have time to think about that. I can't even allow myself to think that way. I've never even given myself permission to think that radical and out of the box. I'm like, well, the kid in you has been put aside and kind of been put in the corner, and that kid's been really wanting to come out and play.
Yeah.
And so back then is when I birthed the idea and trademarked the kid in me. The kid in me was, what did each and every one of us want to be when we grow up? And I started doing experiments. We did a massive event with 15 couples at Napa Rose in downtown Disney, and nobody knew this, but before the event, I painted everybody's story of what they wanted to be when they grow up. And then I unveiled it. And I unveiled every person's story. I had grown men crying at the table
I believe
because
it.
they're like, that's me when I was a kid. That's
Mhm.
me acting out what I wanted to do, and the stuffed animal I had, and how my bedroom looked, and how I reenacted being a lawyer or a race car driver or whatever. And I'm
Right.
like, now we're hitting the mark. This not only brings me joy to make it, but it brings me joy to see how it just keeps totally overwhelming the collector. And so I've been doing Disney for 20 years, and I love it, and painted so many different genres within. I've always loved having a booth where they're like, hey, is this 8 artists or is this one artist? Like, I love having something for everybody, whether
Right.
it's the villains and people, super high contrast, glowing dark, or if it's nostalgic and going to be something that's vintage, like all the Walt pieces, right? Well, the Kid in Me style says, I want this throwback of this timeless era of 1920s to 40s sepia palette, black and white, feeling like Steamboat Willie. But if I could really paint whatever I want, I'm going to paint Walt, Kid in Me style, as a boy in his backyard, reenacting what he wanted Disneyland to be like,
Yeah.
down to his journal in his little train, his dog in his train, his little Mickey plush, and then creating Disneyland out of all the articles in the garage and inside the kitchen and everything in the backyard. Because that's what we all did as a kid. The sense
Hmm.
of wonder, the imagination, the sense of curiosity, and creating that. And so I had a dream. I'm like, no holds barred. I want to create this thing. I created it. It's the most intricate, most special most meaningful piece I've created in 20 years with working with the company. And I wanted it to be a gift that would just overwhelm true Disney fans that absolutely get
It's
the legacy of it. You know what I
the
mean?
the detail is just sick is the only way that I can put it. When I stood in front of it,
Appreciate it.
the thing that it did for me was twofold, Noah. One, it took me back, sitting there looking at it. It took me back to being a kid playing Matchbox cars with my buddy
There you
down the
go, man.
street, you know.
That's
And
right, dude.
then as I went with the storyline, then I started feeling World of Color coming through as a kid and
Oh yeah.
watching that as a kid, and it took me through
Yep.
those moments. And
Yeah.
again, this is one of my, it's an aspiration, a goal for me to have a copy of this hanging in my house at some point because
There you go.
I just love this, and I know Jen,
Well,
you
it's
felt
been,
the same way when we talked about it. You know,
Oh,
I
absolutely. I
appreciate
mean, everywhere you look on here, there's something else that you didn't notice before. And
it.
everything just has such great meaning and like, it just triggers some such sort of a thought in you. And it's just an amazing, absolutely
absolutely.
amazing piece of art.
I
Well,
appreciate it. It's a ton of fun, and there's a lot more to come from that whole
that
that
line.
whole line.
I love it. I'm excited about that to see what more is going to come from that. Well, I kind of want to talk. I know that you've had some amazing opportunities where you've had a chance to contribute your special talents to Disneyland Hotel, Illini, which and Jen always yells at me, I say wrong, and the Disney
That's not
Cruise
how
Line.
you say
I
it.
know it's my Baltimorean thing. Look,
It's Alani.
okay, he was
It's
happy I
okay.
said 49ers correctly earlier, so we're good.
Yeah.
Could you share a little bit with your
Illini.
role? You did some beautiful works here, as you did
Mhm.
when you got into the cruise line, Steamboat Mickey, and just these out here. Just a little bit of insight into that time as you were working with all of this. It's amazing.
Well, there's been such beautiful opportunities. The company has evolved and changed in all these different areas, and but with Disney Cruise Line creating images for the different
Mhm.
cruise itineraries and um, different locations, whether it's Alaska cruise, whether it's in Europe, all these different initiatives have just been wonderful to be a part of and be invited into. But Alani has been a wonderful partnership as well. Gosh, I think we're celebrating nearly 10 years with them. But I got to give credit, to there's it would just be a long, long list of the merchandise developers and partners that I've been able to do events with, and I give full credit to everybody that has given me a shot. That's the best way to describe it, and I
Love it.
I still feel to this day that it's very much like that. I'll look at them in the eye and I go, hey, I know this is another another initiative, but to me, I always still feel like, hey, thanks for giving this kid a shot at the
Love it.
opportunity to be able to create something special for you guys. And
Love
so
it.
I'm still in the pinch it phase of, hey, this is a huge, massive responsibility, and I don't only want to do the company proud, but I kind of look at it as Walt's legacy as well. I'm like, I just want to keep getting better with time. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you are, my friend.
I
You,
want to
you,
keep everybody on their toes and keep surprising everybody because I think that's what's fun. And as collectors, we look forward to things. And if it wasn't for the guests and the collectors, I love creating stuff that they love to get excited about, and that
love it.
brings me joy. If I can bring them joy, it brings me joy, and
Love it.
it's a win-win. When we're doing an event, I sign their piece and do the dedication with the little sorcerer hat, and I look at them seriously, and it's not just saying it for saying its sake, but I look at them. You realize that we can't do this without you,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
art is a very lonely venture because when you're in a studio, you're sitting here for hours and days and months on end by yourself. But when you get to go out to market with it, that's where you get to get that
It's really, it's good.
feedback of what's going on, which
I
is
love
really
it.
special.
Well, let's transition because there's one thing that a lot of people may not know that you do that is incredibly impactful. Jen, could you talk with us and talk with Noah a little bit about some of his things he does as an author?
Yeah, because what a lot of people might not know is that in addition to your incredible artistic talents, you're also a respected author with several impactful works. Could you share a bit about the 31 disciplines of highly successful creatives? And just give us a look into your latest release, The Profitable Artist, what readers can expect, and what inspired these projects.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times, well, the inspiration came from um, numerous conversations, whether it was a request, hey, can I take you to coffee and can I pick your brain? So that's where it started.
Okay.
And you run out of bandwidth and time. And so I'm like, well, how can I duplicate myself? So created a book. The book became a curriculum. The curriculum became a course. The course became coaching. Coaching became group coaching, where I coach a bunch of entrepreneurs from around the world, as well as I have one-on-one coaching with really high capacity clients, entrepreneurs, and most of them not artists. It's mostly
Right.
just entrepreneurs in general that are really wanting to do extraordinary things, using their business as a mission to do it. And so profitable artists for me said, that's the parent, the parents walking up with their kid going, hey, we're getting ready. Our kid's really passionate about, animation, or they really want to start their own career being a maker and creating their own products, or making, knives, or wanting to do whatever. And I'm like, press pause for a minute. Whether it's this book or going and doing the course, it's the smartest investment that you can ever do. Why? Because very few creatives can prove to you that they can make creativity and commerce coexist. And that was what the tagline about the book became, was like, I want to show you how the last 40 years has taken place and transpired, but I want to provide the blueprint to make it easier on the people that are coming up.
Yeah.
So one, if I can save mom and dad hundreds of thousands of dollars and years of time on kids just signing themselves up for something that they're just trying to figure out, what if mentorship actually became a part of their life sooner than later? So all this has been, and all I've wanted to do, is be able to provide mentorship and coaching to help people get the cheat codes and the upgrades sooner than later, so that they can get on the path of hitting the target sooner than I did. And everybody gets the benefit of my missteps, my successes, my trying, my failing, my winning, it's like I get to take that entire recipe and help provide those protocols so that others out there in the world can learn. So Profitable Artists has been a wonderful way to help do that. I'm finishing up my brand new book and course and curriculum, which I'm really excited about. And then, but Fear Hunters and 31 Disciplines, those are wonderful go-to for any reader, any reader age, to be able to get those. The 31 Disciplines is a daily devotional to do over, a cup of coffee, just a shot in the arm to just sharpen your creative edge and your approach to life. And, I'll have moms that are, hey, I want to buy this for my son. I'm like, hey, if you're a mom, you're running a bed and breakfast every single day. You're a creative. You got to get creative about the way that you're running your life and the way that you're helping run the household and raising kids and building a home, as well as, every single one of us is a creative. Every single one of us is entrepreneurial. Nobody's ever told us that, and we don't see ourselves typically that way. So what would life look like if you could get fear and shame out of your life? That's Fear Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to allow you to be able to invest in yourself, to get some upgrades that are going to help you do things way, way better. And then, I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people get those tools sooner.
I love it. All these books, everybody, are available on Noah's website, which we've been dropping the link in throughout the night. You can go over there and get the ones you want. Also, before I go to the next thing, I should say, Jen, just so you know, all those times where we've talked about things and I've said speed bumps, it's because I read the book by Noah. I read the book by Noah Elias. She's heard me say speed bumps probably 1,000 times. Probably 1,000 times.
Every day.
Because I've read that book, and I think it's
probably 100 times just today.
I'm telling you, that is a great book to read. I haven't read Fear Hunters yet, and I will. I have read Speed Bumps, and it's helped me a lot in life. So check that out.
Awesome.
We were talking about coaching here, and I kind of would like to talk about that for a second. You offer elite coaching that helps business owners transform their companies from just a business into a meaningful cause, which I love. Can you talk about how you guide them through that shift and the role you play in helping them align their mission with real impact through your coaching?
Yeah, sure. Appreciate it. Yeah, again, it came from all the requests of folks that needed help or were requesting help, I should say that. So the demand kept coming up of like, hey, how did you crack the code? You're working less, you're making more, you're doing what God's called you to do, and you're increasing his kingdom. Like that's the sweet spot. How did you get to that sweet spot? And can you help me? And most business owners that are creatives, again, I keep going back to, they don't have a way to integrate, oh, I can actually make really good money at this while at the same time being able to do something that is my craft.
Right.
Most people, creatives, are locked away in a room and they never come out into the real world and they're never going to make any money. Well, I wanted to show them that that is possible, but there's a few things that most, I should say, most of the clients that I coach, they're completely unaware of the ecosystem that is inside of them and their family. And so my job is to help everybody look at the value that they create, the assets that they can create in their life, help them build out a platform, help them have a go-to-market strategy, help them scale. And my coaching is really for those individuals that are looking to take every square inch of their life and make it to become a performing asset.
Right.
And I start with your funeral and I work backwards.
Makes sense.
And that's going to reveal really, really quick where your purpose is coming, where your purpose is, where it is not. Are
Right.
you aimed at the right target? And I just really want to, basically the villain in my life and my clients' lives are, that you're not going to miss the mark of your true potential of what you were put on earth here to do.
I love it.
And how do we make sure that doesn't happen?
On Noah's website, there is a ton of information on ways to work with Noah and different coaching aspects and ways to be part of that. I fully, really, really encourage all of you take the time to go over to his website when we're done these interviews. Take a look at it. If you want to look at the art, do it. It's great. It's fantastic, spectacular. But if you also want to build upon your life, Noah offers a lot of great opportunities. And I know, Jen, you were humbled by all of his work that he does with Acres of Love. And I know you wanted to talk about that, so I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, of course. In collaboration with Chantel, your wife, and Griffin and Noah, your kids, you've partnered with Acres of Love in such a meaningful way. And it's clear that the purpose and heart are central to everything you do. Can you share what this organization means to you, the role that giving back plays in your life, and the kind of impact you've seen it have on others?
No, I appreciate it. I'll say it in short. You have three options with the time that you have left on this earth. You're either going to spend it, you're going to waste it, or you're going to invest it. And my true aim in life, which is why the logo is all about true north, is the sooner that you can establish the true north of what you're accomplishing here in this life, the better. And you'll never work another day in your life. You'll just wake up and you're becoming a part of the solution. I spent a majority of my life where I was so self-consumed about just building a brand of getting security and stable and predictable and bills paid and a few amount of months in savings and looking to gather all I can and retire as the biggest illusion, and quite frankly, missing the entire mark of this life. When in actuality, realizing I was put on this earth to deploy the blessing, not consume it for myself, but to show how I can take what's been granted to me and then get it out to as many people as possible. Acres of Love was one of the first ways that we could exercise that. My mentor, Bob, had modeled it with his wife, and they had been doing work with Acres, and then we went and started investigating it. And in the worst part of our life, and you can read it in the testimony, my online videos and all that, but at the worst part of our life and going through the crucible is when we signed up for something that we couldn't afford, and that was, how could we take care of a special needs child that had been orphaned due to AIDS, and how could we provide for them a forever home? That means until they graduated or 18 and growed up into adulthood or need more special services.
Hmm.
Special needs has been a part of our family, and the goal was, oh my gosh, now we realize that we could take our company and turn it into a cause. Now we could take our business and use it as a mission to underwrite something that was much greater and more significant than just consumption.
Yeah.
And that the illusion of security and stability isn't actually, stability and security is not just an illusion, but it's not freedom. True freedom says you get to live life on your terms, wake up where every day is Saturday, use your unique gift to point it at something that will echo into eternity forever. And you get the best of both worlds. I love it when Jesus says this. He goes, I came that you would have life and have life to the full. And for me, that's kind of been like this dialogue between me and God, where it's like, most people think, oh, I'm going to have to get rid of everything and go live in a hut, and I don't get to have any fun in life, and I just have to be a servant. And I'm like, wait a second here. It's been my discovery and my learning that the most underserved, undermaximized missionary on the planet is the business owner. And more importantly, the entrepreneur that is a creative. Why? Because they have more influence in their phone and in their social media than most mega
Right.
churches.
Right.
And you can leverage every square inch of that to make really great money, having a total fun life, and you can fund and underwrite that which is eternal. So we said yes to this assignment back in 2013, 2014. And we had a hope and a dream of being able to do 4 homes directly and indirectly in our lifetime. And that's been happening. And through partnership with Acres and other partners that have collaborated. And it's been a beautiful thing. And we literally just got back a week and a half, 2 weeks ago from going down and seeing the kids. And Noah and Griff got to see the kids for the first time. And, here it is. You're like, yeah, if you're gonna pull out the sword and slay the dragon of building a life and a business, it helps if you got your life aimed at the right target and the right true
Right.
north. And you realize that you can use the rest of your life to invest. I think probably the most sobering thing is to realize at the end of your life, at your funeral, your whole entire slideshow will be 3 songs, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
12 minutes of entire life in 12 minutes. And you
Hmm.
know what I've never seen on a slideshow at a funeral? I've never seen somebody's career, ever.
That's a
All
great
that
point.
matters, all that matters is people.
People. Yeah. It's all about
People.
people. Well,
When you
that's a,
realize what breaks God's heart and puts a smile on his face, especially as not only a special needs child, but then a child that's been orphaned that is special needs. And I'm telling you, when you start to join God and what he's already been up to around the world, you kind of get out of the bubble of security and preservation and a life of leisure and escapism. We want to go and do these trips not to escape, but more to celebrate. Look
celebrate.
what God's
Yeah.
done. And so, doing art is just one big, beautiful thing that I get to wake up every single day and have had this beautiful gift of making something new. That's why I tell every single Disney guest that I possibly can. When I say the term, like, we can't do this without you, I look at you guys as partners because when you collect the art, it allows us to be able to go distribute the blessing more. And
Yeah.
that's a partnership, right? And it's a win-win for everybody. So I hope that really lands in everybody's heart, because that's a driving force behind why we do what we do. You go back to the mission statement, using creativity and story to bring hope to the world. And we're doing it because you guys are helping us do that.
And sharing your passion as a believer is a beautiful thing. So I appreciate that, and I know Jen does as well. And
Mhm.
speaking
Absolutely.
of sharing, it kind of goes to kind of where I want to go next. And you know, your journey to becoming a profitable artist, and such a powerful reflection of your personal story, how you've become powerful in life. Through your actions and your deeds, it's been inspiring to watch. Can you walk us through, you know, that journey a bit? Talk about maybe some turning points real quick, but more importantly, I really want to talk about your video series that you have. This is, it's a free opportunity for people to come in and to kind of open up into your world a little bit and see what's there. that they can find. I think
Yeah,
this is amazing for what you do. For it's really
I
helping to
I
find your true
appreciate it.
north.
Yeah, and it's the video series for me was again just going back to everybody's like, I want to hear how you did it, and so I'm like, I'm just going to put it out there online. It makes it so much simpler. So, I mean, everybody can go to the site. They can watch the origin story. It's a 6-part series that you can watch at your leisure. But really, I just pull the curtain back on going, man. Here's where I was. Here's what happened. Here's how it grew. Here's what God did. Here was my crisis of faith. Here's when I, you know, put the business on the altar and just like, hey, what are we going to do with the rest of our life? How do we maximize this? How do we grow it? Um, and that's why this series is there, so that we can have a conversation. And I just want to be able to serve as many people in different time zones as possible, and they can share it if it's going to help somebody. If it's somebody that's trying to do creativity, great. If it's somebody that's trying to navigate life, great. I think there's something in that origin story for everybody, and hopefully it'll help show that there's other ways that things can be done.
I encourage everyone, in honest and sincerity, take the time to go watch it. It will impact you one way or another. Kind of just like he says, it may not be in your creativity. It could be in your life. It could be with your kids. It could be with your work. It could be just anything in life. And I'm telling you, it's so worth the watch. Go check that out.
Oh,
Uh, I know
I appreciate it.
Jen wanted to talk about something you've got going on. You'll be actually heading over to tonight when you're done with us, and that's pretty special,
Yeah.
Jen.
Yeah, yeah. Your artistic contributions to the community have consistently wowed people, but your recent wall mural for Chick-fil-A is truly
Yeah.
something special. Can you tell us a bit about what people will discover in this piece and what inspired it?
Oh, thanks. Great friend of mine, Justin. This is his second store that he's been able to be an operator of in Costa Mesa at 17th Street and Newport Boulevard in Costa Mesa. And it's a special location because that origin story of where I filmed that. My gallery and studio for 22 years, actually way more than that, because I had 4 or 5 galleries and studios within that 1 mile. So just look at the last 40 years has happened right next to that Chick-fil-A. So it's like literally my backyard. I would drive by it every single day. And so when Justin gets that store, I mean, first of all, we never knew there was going to be a Chick-fil-A there. Then it becomes a Chick-fil-A. It was an Outback Steakhouse. And Justin gets assigned to this amazing opportunity to go to the next level. And he just hits me. He's like, dude, I think I want to do something special for the community. And I'm like, hey, we put our heads together, and basically the idea was, how can we take our history of all of us, Justin included, growing up in this action sports background, and our history of living in Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, and just that whole surrounding area and everything that makes it special, from surf and the beach and Pacific Coast Highway and VW buses and the airport and you name it. How do we bring all that together to kind of just give one big heralding thank you to the community through that? And so I created, similar to the Kid and Me style, it's very much the same color palette and everything, and the same way that I did Walt in A Boy in His Dream. That's just the same approach, just no holds barred, go crazy, go nuts, and really just paint pure joy. And that's basically what it was. It was just playing in the sandbox, having a ton of fun. And literally all the locals that have already come by and seen it, like a couple of my buddies that have grown up for the last 30, 40 years, they almost got tears in their eyes, like, dude, this is us. This is it. This is like, so I'm like,
I
okay, if
love it.
these guys are effective, I think we're going to hit the target with the community. And I'm just, again, I just can't believe I get this opportunity. First of all, one of the top brands in the entire world. Um,
Yes, Chick-fil-A. Yeah. And
Come on, give me a break.
if you'd like to see this film full mural, go over to his Instagram. He did a spot Instagram the other day from there and kind of showed the mural. It's awesome. You're gonna be blown away with the size, the detail, the impact. The Like Jen says to me many a times, the way the darks and the lights and everything pull you in and tell the story. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Go check that out. Real quick,
Well,
everybody, we've been dropping links all throughout the day in the chat for all of Noah's Fine Art or Noah's Instagram and all that. I just want to highlight those real quick. You can find Noah on Instagram himself. He's got 30,000 followers over there. You can also find Noah Fine Art over there with 7,000 followers as well. You can keep up with everything going on. As I mentioned, he has his website, Noah Elias. I've been in there a lot over the last 6 to 8 months, just going through with, finding things of inspiration. He has a monthly course subscription. It's a great opportunity over there. I would go over there, check that out. I highlighted a screenshot from there. And of course, he has the Noah Fine Art page, which you will find a ton of his beautiful work over there. I should remind everybody that, hey, if you're looking for Noah's art with Disney, when you're talking about Disney, Noah's Disney artwork is exclusive to his in-person signings. They can only be purchased at the parks, at the signings. So any of the other Noah art can be purchased anywhere along the way. So I just wanted to highlight so everybody was on path there. He's got Facebook, where his Noah Elias Facebook is available, and also Noah's Fine Art. Again, both of them available. He's strong over on TikTok, starting to get into that whole opportunity. He's over on X as well. YouTube, there's a lot of great videos over here on YouTube. Y'all are already over here on YouTube. It's an easy thing to do, to click it, give a follow, and keep up with that. Make sure your bell's on, so when something new comes out for that. And also, our good friend is going to be out in Disney at Disneyana in Disneyland Main Street, June 27th. He'll be available September 19th and December 13th. So if you're thinking about making a trip to Disneyland, Jen, September, I'm just saying, Noah will be out there. It's a good time to go see him. Purchase a piece of art, get a personalization on it. I guarantee you it will impact you tremendously. No, we always try to finish with a final thought of the night here with our guests. And I'd kind of like to throw it over to you first for your final, and then I'll go to Jen. I'll throw some of mine in real quick, and we'll get ready to close things up.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to you guys for doing this and having such a heart and passion to just celebrate creativity and personalities, and having great stories that'll bring hope to a lot of folks. And then also to all the viewers and guests. Again, can't do it without you, and grateful for your continued loyalty and support. But also, I just want to say also thanks for the support. We have a brand new artist that has been published underneath the my brand, Noah Fine Art with Disney, and it's Scooter. And the introduction that we have done over the last 2 years, introducing Scooter at the Festival of the Arts a year ago, and then this last year here in Florida, and now at Disneyland as well. This was just another example of taking creativity and hope and using creativity and story to bring hope to the world. And our partnership and collaboration with Scooter, you guys, I'm telling you right now, you got to get in a conversation with them, because they are like, it just oozes out of them. They're amazing. And you're going to see why we work together.
Yes.
And you want to talk about extraordinary, unbelievable, ridiculous art. Listen to me right now. There's lightning in a bottle, and I know it when I see it. Scooter's got it. And you
Good people.
you don't meet Scott and Christy, you experience them, and you'll know what I mean when you
Absolutely.
when you talk.
I agree with you.
I'll be sure to, but I'm really excited about that because it's really, really exciting to be able to expand our portfolio.
Mhm.
And it's been received like you can't even imagine.
I love it.
I
love it.
And you can see it on Instagram as well.
Absolutely love it. Jen, final thought?
Yeah, I just, of course, want to say thank you for spending some time out of your busy schedule with us. And the thing that I think that's great about this Disney Dialogue show is that we're able to bring in artists like yourself, and we're able to celebrate the fine art that you do. But I think it's the stories that we find behind that is what really makes this series special. All of the work that you do, your faith in God, your inspirations, like those are all of the things that make you who you are, that makes your art so wonderful. And I'm glad that we have this opportunity for others to see that they might not see just by looking at a piece of art, but now they're able to experience it. So I want to say thank you on behalf of myself and Pete and all of our viewers. Thank you for opening up to us and giving us that opportunity to see just who you are. So thank you very much.
Well
Appreciate
said.
you guys. Thanks
Beautiful.
for having me. I'm honored.
I'll make mine, simple and to the fact of first, thank you for taking the time and trusting us with your story over here and what Jen and I do. Um, I told you a little bit of my story, a little bit of my background and what I've been doing, and I can tell you that part of your faith and your inspiration have helped me to work toward my true north as I go through everything I'm going through. So I'm truly grateful for that. So thank you so much. I want to do one thing real quick. If you could hang tight, we'll be right back. I want to finish out and say goodbye. And I know you got to go quick, but I wanted to say goodbye backstage real quick. So hang tight. Thank you for being here. Real quick, everybody, before you go, make sure you're hitting all these things. Jen, I got to do one thing before we go here. I got to remind everybody that next week on April the 8th, we're going to sit down with another person who's doing a lot of charitable stuff out there through his art and his passion, Rob Surratt, who is also featured at the festival this year, will be there. Jen, incredible inspiration, faith, believing what we do. Guys, if you believe in yourself and you believe in each other, you can do anything you want together. I believe that. Jen believes that. It's our honor to sit here and talk to you and have some dialogues every week. We'll see you next time. Thank you for being here on Disney Dialogues.